Hey everybody, in this video, I want to share some information published several years ago actually regarding posture and mortality. Now, the title of this particular paper is Hyperkyphotic Posture Predicts Mortality in Older Community Dwelling Men and Women, a prospective study. Hyperkyphotic posture is basically the type of posture that you would typically see from an older individual. Usually that's what we're going to associate kyphosis with. I'm going to show you a picture here. Basically, when you see the exaggerated hump in the back where somebody is really leaning forward, that is considered kyphosis. So the forward bending or exaggerated posture that you would see in an individual in their mid-back. This is also known as Dahlwager's hump or just humpback. Now, like I said, the title of this study, Hyperkyphotic Posture, Too Much of a Kyphosis, and how it predicts mortality. It predicts death in older community dwelling men and women. Now, this was a paper that was published by the Journal of American Geriatrics Society, volume 52, issue 10, and this was in October of 2004. So like I said, this was actually a while back. Now, from the abstract, we learned that the objectives of this study were to determine the association, the connection between hyperkyphosis, hyperkyphotic posture, again, humpback posture, and the rate of mortality, the rate of death, and cause-specific mortality. In other words, they were able to connect specific types of deaths with this type of posture. Now, this was a prospective cohort study, and it included 1,353 participants. Kyphotic posture was measured as the number of 1.7 centimeter blocks that needed to be placed under the participant's head to achieve a neutral head position. So basically, they would lay somebody on their back. The more kyphotic posture that they have, their head would jut forward or up. So you can see here in part C of this graphic, if somebody was not able to lay their head rest all the way back, that's because of that exaggerated posture. So they had these blocks that they were using. So again, they were assessed using these blocks. Demographic and clinical characteristics and health behaviors were also assessed at a clinic using standard questionnaires. And these are outcome questionnaires that are useful to assess somebody's health. Now, participants were followed for an average of 4.2 years with mortality and cause of death confirmed using review of death certificates. So literally, they assessed the amount of kyphosis of these people. They measured how many blocks that they need, which the more blocks indicated, the more bad posture. And then they followed them for up to 4.2 years. So what did they discover? Well, they discovered that hyperkyphotic posture, defined as requiring one or more blocks under the head to achieve a neutral head position while laying on their back, was more common in men than women. It was 44% in men, 22% in women. And that's important because a lot of times, usually it's women that are more concerned with this than men. In age and sex adjusted analyses, people with hyperkyphotic posture had a 1.44 greater rate of mortality, 144% increase in death. In cause-specific mortality, hyperkyphotic posture was specifically associated with an increased rate of death due to atherosclerosis, so heart disease, which is pretty interesting. There's a strong connection there. The author's primary conclusion was that older men and women with hyperkyphotic posture have higher mortality rates. So the worse posture you have, the higher the chance of death. For deaths due to atherosclerosis, heart disease, even in the full model, participants with hyperkyphotic posture had significant 2.4 times greater rate of death. This is insane, considering that most people just look at posture cosmetically. Now, although hyperkyphosis, humpback posture, is generally thought to be due to osteoporosis, this study actually showed that it's so much more. And this is why it's important to be getting chiropractic adjustments regularly in your mid-back or the mid-thoracics, not just when you have pain, but to actually prevent the progression of these types of postures. So again, this particular paper, very, very important. And here's a few key points. Number one, this study shows that hyperkyphosis is not primarily caused by osteoporosis or stress fractures. Number two, hyperkyphotic posture is more common in men than women. Number three, in the study, people even with slight hyperkyphosis had an increased rate of mortality compared to those without it. Hyperkyphosis is significantly associated with deaths due to atherosclerosis, heart disease. Number five, hyperkyphosis increased deaths due to atherosclerosis by 2.4 times, which is, again, pretty significant. Number six, in the seniors that were assessed, the greater the hyperkyphotic posture, the greater the rates of death. The hyperkyphotic posture reflects an increased rate of physiological aging. That is very, very important. So that tells us that just because of posture alone, the worse your posture is, the faster your body is going to be aging compared to people who have normal posture. So basically, hyperkyphosis alters the structural inhibition of the sympathetic nervous system coming out of your mid-back, your thoracic spine, which increases the sympathetic traffic, the stress traffic, which of course could be contributing to atherosclerosis. Number 9, hyperkyphotic posture predicts increased mortality. Number 10, interventions such as chiropractic adjustments specifically targeted at improving hyperkyphosis or hyperkyphotic posture could result in reduced mortality rates. So all that said, chiropractic care is so much more than just neck and back pain treatment. And if you're getting adjusted regularly, what are regular adjustments? Weekly, at a minimum every other week. But this is one of the best things that you could be doing, especially in an environment where we spend so much time looking at our phones, working in front of computers. Just going and getting your chiropractic adjustments are going to be one of the ways that you could prevent increased mortality because of poor posture.